Welcome in to the Leaf Edition hour of the Real Kyper and Bourne Show. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee, Derek Brandeo, and Jake the Snake Schultz with you for the next couple of hours here as we get a good handful of games in already for National Hockey League teams, including the Toronto Maple Leafs. Fairly convincing win last night against what we deem an NHL hockey club in Los Angeles.
Are you that down on him, eh?
Buddy, did you see that blue line that they dressed last night, the LA Kings? Just take a quick look at it and read me the names.
Mikey Anderson, Vladislav Gavrikov, Caleb Jones, Brent Clark, Kyle Burrows, Andreas Englund. Not that bad.
Oh, bud.
Not that bad.
Just give me one Drew Doughty in there, and I think it presents a lot better. But
yeah,
you factor that in with Big Save Riddich. Is that what?
Big Save Dave.
Big Save Dave.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me one good reason why this guy's still in the league?
No, I cannot.
Like, that was not NHL goaltending last night by the LA Kings.
Don't you take this away from my Toronto Maple Leafs?
No, I'm not. Mm-hmm. And I'm not playing Debbie Downer because you're going to tell me everything that you love about them for sure. And good. I mean, like we said, they're
made them look bad.
4-1 right now.
Bad, yeah.
Are they 4-1? 3-1. 3-1. Maybe 4-1 after Saturday night.
Moral victory.
To me, that will be a better feel, a better test of where maybe the Leafs are at this point. But
yes.
That was a tough game for me to watch last night.
Just quality of play.
Just watching, and granted, I did watch the LA Kings against Ottawa too, where they gave up 8 goals and blew countless leads as well. Yeah, and they're hurting right now.
No statistical analysis of that game matters because the Leafs were up by a field goal within whatever it was, 10 minutes or so, and then that changes the game after that. Like, I looked at a lot of the numbers and it was like, LA had higher this, that, whatever, but the Leafs just kind of played out the clock for the last 45 minutes of that game.
Okay, let's go to Craig Berube.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and then, Sammy, you can jump in.
Okay. Clip 1.
Overview of the game.
I thought our special teams were excellent. Goalie was really good. We had a good first period, I thought. Got a lead. Second period, they came out and pushed hard early, and I thought we regained our poise and, our game a little bit. But then the third, I thought that we were just sloppy a little bit.
Yeah. Tough to keep your focus, right? You're up 5.
Yeah, you can talk about how crappy the Kings were in the first period, but I thought for long stretches of that game, they carried the play and had the puck in the Leaf zone, right? Like, I know, like you said, it's human nature.
After the first period.
After the first period.
Yes.
Like, the first period, the Leafs were dominant.
They woke up and they started pushing a little harder. And then to Justin's point, when you've got such a big cushion, maybe you took your foot off the gas pedal a little bit here.
Yeah,
but
felt like
I mean, that's 14 goals in 2 games that the LA Kings have given up.
Yeah,
like, I don't know. It's just watching, a lot of teams struggle early, and maybe that's a bigger picture for another conversation on another day. But like, I think as well as we feel very confident about what we've seen so far, there's really just about 7 or 8 teams that really matter.
Are we going back to our Champions League talk from year 1 of Real Kyper and Bourne?
I don't want to.
The Champions League. Leafs are a Champions League team right now.
But I got reminded last night that there might be only like 7 or 8 teams that really matter this season.
And and it's nice to cover one of them.
Well, and I would
they're
say
in there.
Yeah.
Watching the Leafs so far this year, so trying to temper my own excitement, frankly, because they look different than they've looked in previous years.
Yes. And the feel's different.
It feels different. Like, they're so much more solid on the back end. Tanev and OEL have gone a long ways to doing that. McCabe has taken a step for me. You've actually got roster competition, guys struggling to get in and out. So you got more effort down the lineup. Like, it just feels really solid. The way I've tempered that a little bit is that they have faced a pretty easy schedule thus far.
Well, non-playoff teams.
But they've handled
a New Jersey team that
good New Jersey team
came over
that
overseas.
Everybody talked about that they were the 75 Devils after they starched the Did I say 75 Devils? I meant to say 75 Habs.
Yeah.
The 75 Habs, they beat the Sabres, but
to the, I should say, when you have easy teams in your schedule, you want to come out and look good.
Yeah.
They've come out and looked great. They've come out and done that.
I will say that there is a big-time excitement amongst Leafs Nation about this start.
Early on.
And
even skeptics giving you the, maybe.
I think it's pretty fair to say that the joy has been beaten out of me over the last 4 years doing this show and talking about the Leafs, and the joy is not nearly what it used to be when I was a younger man.
Yeah.
That's just life.
That's life in general.
Yeah.
But I will say, I am still a fan at heart, and I am really, really excited about what I've seen from this team. And I have to tell you, I fully love Berube. Having Tanev back there has changed things for me. The goaltending looks unbelievable. We're 4 games into the season, but under a new coach with a bunch of new players, I didn't expect it to look this good this quickly. I have to be totally honest with you. Is that fair, Kippy?
It is, but for me, after 4 games and 3 of them that we don't think that they're going to make the playoffs, it's way too early. Mm-hmm. It's just there's going to be some tests that you see, and with all, again, due respect to 32 teams, and it's hard. 32 teams is a lot, and it's hard to fill out rosters. And for some teams, it's been watered down. There's watered down products out there.
Yeah,
but that doesn't have anything to do with the progress that we feel that the Leafs has made, and I won't take that away from them. But over the course of 82 games, the only thing that really matters to me is how I think they can match up. Once again, guys, we can say whatever we want about the LA Kings or facing teams that you can kind of pad your stats a little bit. To me, all that matters is how are they going to look in the Atlantic Division coming out of Florida and now Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. That's all. Right?
Yeah. The NHL, it's become like a long-running storyline now, the whole cutoff of American Thanksgiving or end of November, where teams are pretty typically where they're going to end up. We do see some sorting in the early going. So when I hear people be like, it's a few games or whatever, it's like it sorts itself out pretty quick. So I think if Leafs fans want to have some joy in their lives, now is a fine time to be like, you're going to be in the fight. You're going to be a team that gets to compete and has good players, and there's going to be injuries and whatever. But yes, I agree, Kip. They haven't got the test against Rangers coming up.
Yeah. Rangers would be in the mix of
Tampa's coming up after that too.
Rangers we would put in the mix of 7 or 8 teams that could compete for the Stanley Cup.
They won the President's Trophy last year. They got chances again this year.
And then I didn't even mention Boston, who beat Colorado last night, but it just seems like everybody's beating Colorado
Colorado might
night.
not be a playoff team all of a sudden.
But the feeling is that the Leafs have made changes to better position themselves up against a Boston or a Tampa Bay or a Florida this time around. But watching them against LA did nothing for me.
No. I think if you're looking for direction and signs and positive things, the power play scores a couple of goals, which is nice.
Yeah.
Moved around. Austin Matthews, goal and 2 assists. Gets off the schneid a little bit. And so I think there's a lot of the things you wanted to see happen for the team happened. But you're right. I won't argue that the last 30 minutes of that game was like run time.
Kind of felt a little bit like Sheldon's old team.
Well,
the last half.
Yeah,
but
last half.
I love the timeout, and I love how that was handled.
But I also like that, in all honesty, they would have found a way to last year to
5-3,
make it a 1-goal game,
5-4.
right? A 1-goal game, and they still shut the door when they had to. And Stolarz made saves when he had to.
He made
and
one big save,
even though that there was a good push. He never let the game get out of hand. There was some signs of Sammy swimming a little bit from Stolarz in the back half, a little bit, but nowhere near what we've ever seen out of Samsonov. Mm-hmm. There was a trip in the neutral zone that could have easily been a 5-on-3 out of LA.
Yeah, and
then
on Laurent.
And this didn't get lost on Berube because he called that timeout at 5-2. and gave the guys a tongue lashing
With
on the bench.
17 minutes left or whatever it was. I thought that was great. And one thing that Sam and I talked about before you got in today was the, what Sheldon Keefe timeouts looked like last year, whereas Will Ferrell and Old School doing the old, we got to keep our composure, red-faced and screaming. Berube just kind of looking down at probably Tavares, one of the guys.
Holmberg and Tavares,
Holmberg.
I think, had an earful.
And he basically said, wake the heck up.
Up.
Yeah. And you liked the comportment with which he had, the demeanor.
Yeah, this is something we talked about last night on Leafs Talk, but it's just, he looked just more direct, better communicator, not out of this world mad, not screaming at the top of his lungs, just looking two guys dead in the eyes and telling them, be better. And it's poised. It's just, there's a presence about him, which, it's just, he's just a bigger person.
He's an intimidating man.
He's just scary.
Yeah.
Do you have anything on did he talk about the timeout at all?
He did talk about the timeout today at practice. I just, I wanted to go back to the start of last year where we're talking about them playing against, bad competition. Within the first, they won the first game of the season last year, 6-5 in a shootout against the Habs. They give up 5. They beat Minnesota 7-4 in a wild game where they had to have back-to-back hat tricks from Austin Matthews. They had to tie the game at the end of the game. They lose to Chicago in the first game. One of their games. They lose to Florida. We went to the game they lost to Chicago in. It's just they started poorly last year.
And
Even when they
the
won.
narrative
Even when
had
they
already
won.
started of outscoring your mistakes,
For
which
sure.
we have not said once
No.
this season.
Last year, they were a pretty bad defensive team, all told. They were one of the worst defensive teams last year in playoffs.
The point I'm getting at here is that I think Leaf fans have reason to be excited about the way they're playing.
But there's signs.
There's signs. There is no doubt signs that they are a different type of team than they have been over the Matthews era.
But how different? We have not even remotely scratched the surface.
For
on.
sure.
No.
So it's
4 even
I don't
strength
want
goals
to
against in 4
kill
games.
people being optimistic or feeling good. I'm just saying,
Yeah, realism check here.
3-1 here.
Yeah.
Saturday night, okay, I'm paying attention. There's a lot of games that you can sit there and go, I'm not going to be able to tell you anything about this hockey club from this, but Saturday night, I think is one that we can use as a measuring stick a little bit.
Why I'm interested to see how it goes is typically with this team, when people start to talk good about them, when people start to say, this is a good hockey team, I think they have a real chance, they immediately remind you that they'll pee in the bed. That's usually the result. And when they're terrible and everyone laughs at them, you're going to get their best game. They have zagged when you'd expect the zig last year and the year before. So I'm curious Saturday night if you can get another focused good effort.
Again, I'm watching last night, and I think there's still this question mark or uncertainty of what's going to become of John Tavares. And where is his fit? Again, up 3-0, less than a minute to go. He's kind of carrying the puck through the neutral zone, wants to do a complete 360 in the neutral zone, turns the puck over, and it's right back. And there's a few turnovers as well in the last half of the game. But is he still your second guy behind?
Well, he wasn't last night, right? Last night, it was pretty clear who the second line was, and they were unbelievable. So,
yeah.
McMann, Nylander, Domi.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Since they've been put together, they've been hot.
We had this conversation. Did you give it as much rope as you can during the regular seasons to think that you could start Max as a second-line centerman in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Or are you wondering about, other options?
You look at his ice
Just
times.
make some plays.
You just look at his ice times against Montreal, where he played 18:48 to start the year. But they were 5 on
Who,
6.
Tavares?
Tavares. That was 6 on 5 for the last 3 minutes of that game where he was out there. And then he plays 15:04 against New Jersey. Plays 16:10 last night. And they had how many power plays? 4 power plays?
Right.
His role, you are watching his role be diminished in front of our eyes here. He's becoming the third line center. That's happening.
And
You're
again,
watching it.
We saw the really brilliant goal in New Jersey.
Beautiful.
Where he shows that in tight, he could still make quick plays and shoot a puck in the net.
Yeah, that was a special goal.
And it was, if I'm not mistaken, 5-on-5. Obviously, they went into last night 0-4 on the power play, so that was an even strength goal. Last night, he got a nothing burger off of a backhand. Like it wasn't even big save.
He had a tough.
It wasn't even him. It was Copley.
Copley, like
because they made a really
like
weird pull of the goalie halfway through the second period.
It's called a catcher's mitt. Like use it.
Yeah, hit him in the glove.
But outside of that, it wasn't exactly like a 5-on-5 display by John Tavares and his line mates last night. So again, that to me is a big question mark. It's a big not a hole, but it's a like how are you going to fill it?
So let me ask you, what are you working towards here? Like, do you have thoughts that this is still a guy that maybe could he get traded this year?
I thought if there was going to be a push on Tavares to move him out, you probably would have done it in the off season. Whether or not you wanted to take 50% of that contract at $11 million, could you have found someone to bite on it for $6 or $7 million? I don't know. I think it would get easier for a team that may want to be on the outside looking in, pushing towards January, February, but. Are you getting
better by trading John Tavares?
No. But are you going to go now ask him? Yeah, you asked him about taking the C off the jersey. Are you going to now do this in the middle of the season? And this would be a huge distraction. This would be a major, major story.
It would be, but I mean, the distraction would get cleared up by the trade deadline, right? You would either get a different player who the distraction is then over, or you've offended someone who's probably worse, but has something to prove. If that does happen, I don't know. I don't think it's possible.
But taking the C off the jersey is already something to prove. Right? He's already got what we thought was a chip on his shoulder. But
I don't think this is possible. I don't think he'd want it to happen. I'm wondering, Kip, if there's another solution aside from now this guy's going to play 14 minutes on your third line.
But, I mean, if the top half of your lineup looks the way it did last night, which it has the potential to, with I think Domi and Nylander have showed chemistry together.
If I told you
what's wrong with Tavares playing that?
Yeah, you're right.
What's wrong,
Sam? You're right.
I don't understand. Like, I mean, just because you're worried about hurting his feelings, he's in the last year of a contract.
I thought you were saying what's wrong with having him.
It's the other part. If you're going to go to Matt, listen. If I told you guys 16, 18 months ago, Max was going to be the second line centerman for the Toronto Maple Leafs trying to win a Stanley Cup, you would have looked at me and like I had a third eye on my forehead. And now you're like, yeah, maybe. I still don't think that. But you have to get to the playoffs and win games and play and there's a trade deadline. You have that second round pick that you got from Boston this year where you can improve your centers before the deadline. They're good enough to get to where they need to go in the regular season. You need another Ryan O'Reilly.
Yes. That's exactly what they need. That is him going away was such a huge hit to this team where they offered him that money and he didn't take it. That to me is the perfect guy. It was always the perfect guy.
I'm thinking about who's the perfect guy now because he's not available.
No, he won't be available. Maybe he'll come back now.
That's what I see when I watch the Toronto Maple Leafs. Besides maybe a deeper blue line and Stolarz.
Maybe a deeper blue line. Very much better. Much better.
Yeah.
Yep.
But are you talking about at the deadline about adding to the blue line depth? Is that what you're talking when you say maybe getting a deeper blue line?
We'll see how long they want to take a look at Max in the middle or continue to look at Holmberg in a different role. They still got to shed money, guys. Like Yarnmark's coming back.
Yarncroc?
What did I say? Yarnmark?
Yeah.
There's a lot of yarns in the league. But Yarncroc. So he's coming back in a week or two. And Hakanpaa's money's coming on. So Liljegren. I'm throwing out names now, left, right, and center.
You're on fire today.
This is my last day of the week, by the way.
Grapes over here.
Liljegren, the lily pad, played last night, so he's in the mix here. Are they going to try to get rid of his $3 million?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it's going to be interesting. I know last night Liljegren played. So if you look at the ice times of Toronto's D, it's like, 19, 20 minutes per guy. And then Liljegren got 13:55.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go to Berube for the lily pad.
Clip 5.
Clip 5.
He was fine. I mean, he was out there killing penalties, and he got 14 minutes, 5-on-5. I don't know what it was, the minutes, but he was pretty solid.
Okay, for the record, when my wife asks me,
Yeah,
how she's looking tonight, or and I say fine, I get a slap on the head. No one wants to hear fine.
Yeah. Luke Fox's article today commented on this on Liljegren's game last night and said that Toronto was out attempted 20-2 and outshot 8-2 when Liljegren was on the ice last night. Despite Berube trying to shelter his match.
Well, I mean, he gets asked that question, and he talks to Treliving every day, and there's probably a showcase element of this, getting him back in the lineup, playing games. You can't have Berube going like, wow, he's no good, when somebody's trying to maybe make a trade for a $3 million defense, right?
Go out and rip him.
So he says that, but he's just lying to everybody.
He was pretty solid.
He had to force that out.
Let's see if our coach Dakota ring. We may have something on Berube. That might be his "this guy stunk." We'll keep an eye out for that.
I mean, and I was talking to Bourne about this, but he cross checks a guy down, takes a penalty. He clearly doesn't know what he's supposed to do. He doesn't know.
Take time to break.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's supposed to be doing out there to please the coach.
He did look like a guy that's trying not to make a mistake instead of trying to do something.
Yeah. And it's hard when the coach wants you to be someone you're not. Mm-hmm. I told you the story of writing an article for a certain website that wanted a certain tone, and it ended up it wasn't my tone, and it came off all weird. And it just you got to be who you are. And for Liljegren, a cross-checking mean D is never going to be it.
No.
So did you have a really clever tweet last night?
I wasn't really clever.
It was very
Max
clever.
Pacioretty got scratched, so I tweeted Max scratch already. And I don't know. I guess that was disrespectful to Max, who has a prestigious career, and I deleted it anyway.
Oh, you chicken! You chicken!
Next time, send that to me.
Hey.
I'll fire it off. There won't be any deleting.
Oh my god!
But he's game four, he's scratched, fellas. Were you surprised?
No.
Did you miss him?
No.
I think. See, we've seen him play pretty hard already in a few exhibition games, and he's trying really hard. But it's what do you think you're going to get? Like 80 games out of this guy? I think this is kind of what he's built for in terms of the expectations or the contract, and whether or not you feel like he's an everyday player or a guy that can just kind of spot duty in if somebody goes down. If they lose somebody in a top 6, I think it's an easier fill than thinking that you're just going to throw Nick Robertson up there.
If he's cool with it, I think it'd be great. You got a guy making, what's he make, $8.50 or whatever he makes, something cheap. And if he's okay with coming out every other night, playing 50 games this year and being available as a depth guy in playoffs, I like him in that role.
I think he'd probably be pretty thrilled if he played over 36.
Yeah, that would be the number.
36 would probably be the number he'd like to get to.
But I think it's uncommon for someone who's been a multi-time all-star like Pacioretty we've seen it here in Toronto.
Exactly.
People don't actually want to be the fourth line guy.
That's one of Kyper's
I've talked about this.
Tent-pole take forever.
And much like John Tavares, who we know doesn't have that the last season and a half has not been anywhere near Pacioretty's with the drop off. But when these guys have been used to their whole lives being the guy, and they're not the guy anymore, that's a tough pill to swallow.
It is, and I think some people have shown they can do it. I thought Spezza was the best example, and I thought, Corey Perry has evolved as a player to do it, but it's very uncommon that guys like Pacioretty then become useful in and out guys who stay at the top of their game. It's like Giordano. Giordano never wanted to come out.
So we have 2 separate clips on this. The first one is just the question about it. So Can we get the clip 2, please, Derek, on scratching Pacioretty?
How do you form the decision to keep Max Pacioretty out of the lineup tonight?
It's just a decision I made. That's it.
Sam loves that.
I love it. And then the second clip 2, message to Pacioretty. Clip 3.
This is a message to Max.
Well, he's got speed, Bobby.
Nope,
and
nope.
This is a message to Max after a scratch like tonight. Pacioretty.
There's no message. It's like we have guys, we have extra players, and not everybody can play every night. That's the bottom line. I mean, you know, he's been fine when he's played, but I got to make decisions as a coach, and I'm going to make those decisions what I think is best for the team.
Fine.
Oh, get ready for that one all year long.
What's that?
My
Decision I
decision,
made.
and it's what I think is best for the team.
I love
That's
that.
just
Explain
a
your
decision I made.
decision.
That's it.
Yeah, I made it.
You don't need
Yeah.
anything more than that.
Well, but that to me is what's horrible for our show.
But leadership.
A coach, where it's just like, you're not going to get 2 minutes of word salad on what this guy needs to do or what this is or what that is. I chose the guy not playing because I think we're better without him.
We have 14 forwards. I got to play 12. I thought we'd look best with this 12.
End of story. It's
Is that the end of story?
it's
End of story.
It's refreshing for me. I have to say it is refreshing. So, boys, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
It's okay,
I'm
Sammy.
but I'm
we wouldn't expect
I
anything
am
less.
chugging the Berube Kool-Aid. Like after I had 7 to 8 Bud Lights the night before, I'm running to the convenience store to get the Kool-Aid or the Gatorade. I'm chugging it. I'm chugging.
I'm back.
I am back. I love him.
It is, what's your message to Max? I like that he's just like, I don't have one. And, he'll get in again. Hopefully he plays better than fine. Fine is definitely not a good review from Berube now. We're putting
And
that
just for
together.
someone at that level where I've been a part of it on championship teams and teams that have struggled to get a sniff of the playoffs, there's the training camp where everybody comes in feeling great and refreshed, new coach. I get to start, clean sheet of ice for me to paint, impress. And then somehow during the course of the next few weeks, the next few months, it sorts itself out. Who's in the inner circle, who's on the outside looking in, egos, jealousy, and it just has a way of sorting itself out.
Yeah.
And sometimes strong rooms can overcome that, and sometimes it kind of can chew you up a little bit. And you got to let this run its course here because not everyone's feeling great. The team's up 5-2. When was the last time Tavares probably got an earful like that? Right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's see how he reacts next game or
Well, he went out and scored a goal, and I know you think
a
bad
power
save or
play
whatever.
goal.
Yeah.
A power play
I know,
goal.
but he had another good opportunity on that power play. My point is he didn't go curl up in the fetal position and die. He went out and got a couple shot attempts and scored.
Luckily,
This
I
isn't-
wear this
this is
magical
just-
amulet.
This is over the course though of 82 games and what's kind of going to be, left. That's all.
Right.
And Berube's going to be hard on these guys. If you're up 5-2 and he's giving you earful, is he going to stay consistent on that? Is there going to be some times when you can't do it all the time because guys can also get real tired of it as well?
Yeah.
Like
But
you
that
got
was a pretty
you
moderate
can't do it all
message.
the time. I'm telling you right now, that timeout was message sending early by Berube, not just for the players. There's the fans too. There's the whole world. That timeout was as much about
I'm the
new sheriff in town, and this is the way I want it to be perceived. So let everybody know. But if he's going to kind of keep that foot on the gas pedal over 82 games, it's going to be tough on the guys.
You want to hear him talk about it? About the
Yes.
timeout? All right. Clip 10, please, Derek.
Well, it was a feel thing for me last night. I didn't like what we were doing, and then I just wanted to, get a break there and bring everybody in and talk a little bit about getting the intensity level up more than anything. They were pushing hard. I thought they pushed hard in the second period too. Our intensity wasn't good enough. We got it back in the second, and then in the third, you're up like that, it's, natural to drop off the intensity level. And we were soft a little bit on pucks and things like that, and they were taking advantage of it. So I wanted to call a timeout and, kind of get everybody dialed in again.
The Holmberg turnover right before the second goal against, was vile. Just a lackadaisical touch at the top of inside your own blue. Ugh.
He's had a few lapses this year. A couple ones on the power play. One where he cleared it onto somebody's stick. The one where he almost fell over. Letang shot it in the net. He's had a few lapses so far.
So funny that last year Keefe said the word soft, and it was a 2-year-long saga. We played it ad nauseum. We talked about it, and last night Berube said the exact same thing. And it's just like, yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. Power play, Austin getting on the board. Everything's good again.
Who shoots a puck like that? How does he shoot it like that?
I didn't even see it go in.
I mean, it was like, okay, he fanned on it. He's off balance, and then it was just like, what is that? It was in?
Crushed it.
Freakish.
He loves to shoot the puck, though.
He does.
That skill.
Even at bad angles, too. Like, he's on the goal line. He's throwing it to the net.
Oh, yeah.
He scored a few like that last year, though. That's probably why he did it. Like the one against Buffalo. Yeah.
Just whip him from the...
But, I mean, the skill involved and the dexterity after a all-world fan.
Yeah.
Like, he couldn't have fanned harder on that shot.
Yeah.
And then just to pick it up and make it look like it's a fake and shoot.
Like head and on his toe. And
he likes to shoot it. And he looked like he was pretty happy.
Yeah, he wanted that one.
Yeah. Can I ask you guys a question that with Nyes and the way Marner's looked so far, and he's really picked it up in these past few games. I thought he was awesome again last night.
Who's that, Mitch?
Mitch.
Oh,
and
on the backhand.
Yeah. Is there a potential that Nyes, Matthews, and Marner could be the best line in the league?
Yeah, they can.
Well, there's times when they have the puck in their own zone, and it's like LA looked paralyzed.
Yeah,
you're not getting it back.
I am an unabashed Matthew Nyes fan, but I still think that the chemistry with him and the other two, it's not there. Like I don't see it necessarily. Like not to say
still
that
feels like them two playing and him kind of standing around.
He's like a guy doing kind of a different thing, and maybe he'll get there. But I don't. Do you see that at all?
I think there's so much growth in his game mentally as well.
Nice.
Just when to hold on to the puck a little bit more, when to move it, when to go in and out, when sometimes not go to the net, but be an outlet. Like he's still learning the game.
Yeah.
But he's so big and strong. It's like watching a linebacker open up a hole for a running back.
It's like a baby rhinoceros or something.
Oh gosh, he's just a mule.
Yeah. Bobby McMann, a little bit of that last night too.
I just thought he's improved even through 4 games. He's looked better every game.
I agree with
and I do think by game 10 or 15 that if he's seen a few go in and those guys are buzzing around, I think they could be.
I'm not sure if he'll ever be like a top scoring.
No, he won't.
winger,
I don't think he will be.
He can score 80 points in the league.
But he can be high. Can he be Hyman? Not score 50, but what a younger Hyman used to do for those guys.
I think if he can chip in 55, 60 points, that would be incredible.
Think that's his ceiling?
No. You think he can be an 80, 90 point guy?
No. Those are
okay. Give me a number then.
Well, 55 and 90 is a big swing.
So 80, then you're right in the middle.
Can he be a 70-point guy?
Can he be a point a game guy?
I think if he plays on that line at age 26, yes. He's 22, right? He just turned 23, maybe.
Age 26. Well, that'll be 3 years with Mitch and the Blackhawks, so it'll be tough to be playing on a line with them.
Jokes.
I'm not sold on him.
He just turned 22.
Yeah, but I'm not sold on him being a top scorer.
I think there's a chance that we look, I remember you always talking about like Tom Wilson, like where do we get one of those?
Yeah.
And like not that Nyes is going to fight people, but if you have a 230-pound guy who gets 60 points, 70 points.
Yeah. I'm not sure where he is on the, FU meter. I think he's
got to find it a bit.
I'd like to see a shorter fuse on him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it'll ever get there.
I think if he can dial that up a bit, that would go a long way.
That would go a long way.
And I think it's possible a couple more years in the league where you start to feel like this is mine, you can't take it from me. When you realize what a monster you are, it could come. It could come for him still.
Let's take a break and then we'll talk about Bobby McMann and some other stuff when we come back.
So before we go, I kind of gave him a little bit of a beef for deleting his Twitter message. This is what I get every once in a while.
Oh, God.
From Stan the Man.
Okay.
Can you ask Sam to unblock me? I know we disagree sometimes, but he doesn't have to block me. So listen,
Sam's a fragile flower.
I am pleading for Stan the Man. Can you unblock him, please?
I'll have a look. We'll review
it's
the
under
case.
consideration.
It's okay if you disagree.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I am so like it takes a lot for me to block somebody. I am not a blocker at all. I have lots of mutes, but not a lot of blocks. So he must have said something pretty dumb.
I
I'll be honest.
was
with you.
a proud, I don't block many people
Yeah.
till like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it is liberated to be like, yeah, bye.
Well, so in the break, we'll review the case and
We'll get back
we'll
to you.
get back
man.
to you on that
Mr.
one.
The man.
Yeah.
Hey, Stan the Man, I'm trying for you, buddy. I'm trying for you. All right. More of that and the Leafs on the Leaf edition of the Real Kyper and Bourne after these words. The Kypreos, Justin Bourne, and Sammy McKee. We're getting down to why Stan the Man blocked our Sammy.
I will
Vice
say,
versa.
I
Yeah.
went and reviewed the tapes.
Yeah.
Whoa, bit of a quick trigger by your boy. I will say this is one of my quicker triggers. I
You can let him back in?
might. Yeah.
Yeah, I give him another chance.
Oh, what?
But I thought it was way worse.
No, it was a quick trigger. I must have just been having a bad day. But he was basically I was
Called
talking
you a
about
loser.
I was talking about Canada soccer, and he was all over me for being a casual soccer fan, which I'm not.
Yeah.
I actually love soccer, and I've been a huge soccer fan my entire life. He was all over me for that. He was sending me multiple tweets about it, and I was just having a bad day, so I hit the old block, and it felt great. And at the time, felt great.
He called you a loser. But we've called you a loser.
Yeah, but I like you guys.
All right, I'm working on you, Stan.
All right, well, I'll try my
Stan
best.
the Man.
I'll try my best.
Okay, McMann, is he turning into a poor man's Matthew Nyes?
Poor man's Matthew Nyes.
Wow, he's
He had as many
not on
goals
the.
as Matthew
He's
Nyes
not
last
playing
year
with
in
Austin
less games.
Matthews or Marner, but big, strong guy can get to the net, can shoot it in.
I thought, and I know we'll listen to Berube's clips after. I think it's hard when you've been a good offensive player to just become a boring version of that. When a coach is like, you're not our best goal scorer. We want you to go in straight lines, do boring things, and sometimes shoot it in. And I think that's what Berube's
He
asking.
smoked Anderson last night. Did you see the hit?
Yeah.
Smoked him.
Smoked him.
And he got in a little
Like
whatever
that-
with the no.
Tussle.
That we should see more of,
Mhm.
right? And if it doesn't have to end up being as good looking of a hit because those are hard.
Yeah.
As I've lived through it, but you should be your intent should be
Run into a couple.
that forceful all the time.
If he runs into someone like that every other game and he scores 15 to 20 goals and he's a free agent 2 summers from now, someone will give him, I don't know, $4 million a year for 20.
Oh boy.
If he scores 20 goals and he runs into people hard,
You were trying to give him $3 million last year, Kipper.
Stop it.
You were. You were.
I said
You were.
you were paying the man.
You loser.
Okay, you want to go back to your tape on this one?
No, I don't.
I said that teams should be looking at him like St. Louis looked at Dylan Holloway.
Mhm.
That's all.
Mm.
To me, Holloway or McMann, who would you want right now?
I mean, honestly, I like Holloway quite a bit. So, but probably McMann. I don't know. Today, I'll take McMann for a
Okay,
game.
flip a coin.
Yeah, sure.
But my point is that, like, why aren't teams doing this? And Lawrence as well. Like, how do you let this guy who couldn't use that type of guy? 32 teams. Who couldn't use that guy? Why wouldn't you have put an offer into him before the Leafs decided on a PTO?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just some dumb teams, I guess.
LA probably could have used him.
Yeah. They could use a lot.
I know there's
let-
contracts, and I know that egos are involved, and you think your team's great.
Oh, and you want to
at-
honor
at
your
training
scouts who
camp.
told you that their guys are gonna turn.
Don't worry about getting this guy. I've got the guy for you in our organization. I drafted him.
Yeah, let's listen to Craig Berube talk about old Bobathan here. Clip 4, please.
Well, he's got speed, Bobby, and he finished tonight, which was good to see. But he's a power forward. That's how we should think the game, night in and night out, as being a power forward with his skating and his size. he doesn't have to complicate the game. He needs to go in straight lines and bang bodies and get to the net and score goals around the net.
God, I would hate that. Oh, I would hate hearing
See,
that from my
like-
coach. I would hate it.
Why? Because it would put pressure on you to be this guy all the time?
It would take the fun out of hockey, right? It's like asking you to be a worker, which he is paid to be. Listen, I'm not saying he shouldn't do it or it's not the right thing. I'm saying I would hate personally hearing it. It would be hard to change the way you've always played.
And both goals he scored last night, I mean, the first one he shot into a wide open net when it
But
landed on his stick. And the second one, it's like, I mean, Riddick was over in the near corner when he shot it into the wide open net. Like, they weren't both of them.
So
No save, Dave.
can he learn?
No save.
Can he learn to
Is
be
he willing?
meaner?
Oh, there's no learning. It's an easy
are
thing
you-
he's being asked to do.
Are you willing to learn to do that every game?
Are you willing to do it? Are you willing to be
And
a
what's
ditch
your
digger?
guess? That he's going to pick and choose and take his foot off the gas pedal when it's 3 games in 4 nights
where'd he
in
go to school?
February?
I'm asking sincerely. Does anyone know where he went to school? Is he an Ivy guy?
I feel like he's a smart guy,
I
yeah.
feel like he's an Ivy guy. I feel like he thinks he's too smart to be a ditch digger.
Oh,
Colgate. There it is.
Ah.
It's tough to tell a guy, just turn it off. Dump it in.
Dumb.
Run into
Be
people.
dumb.
Dumb it
Buddy,
down.
you'll never get an argument on me on that.
Yeah.
I've lived it. I've played with some of these guys who think, they're willing to do something and they're not.
Yeah.
I
watch
get it.
me cut this
I get
back
it.
and delay. I should play with, Marner and Matthews. And once I'm with them, the coach will see that I'm actually more of an offensive guy than he thought. And I'll just make a couple more plays than a.
must be nice to play with Willie and Domi, though.
Yeah, it's not bad.
The puck's finding you a lot.
Yeah.
Like the pass that Willie makes off the sideboard, it's just, sees him down the middle of the ice, hits him right in the tape.
Yeah.
And the other one was just lands on his stick in the slot, too.
But that was a great play by McCabe.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
other
yeah.
one, he zips it through to Domi and
Yeah.
puts it on net.
Yeah. He's just getting stronger and more confident and looks more like a leader than he ever has prior. He's in a sweet spot, but like we've talked about earlier, and you mentioned at the top of the show, that blue line feels different with OEL and Tanev. It just seems like maybe guys are slotted a little bit more.
Yeah.
Morgan picked his spot last night
Yeah,
to
nice.
come down the slot.
D-man to D-man high tip is not something you see a whole
No.
lot, but it was a nice goal.
Yeah.
Do we have a clip of Ruby talking about
Larson?
defending?
Well, we have a clip, yeah. It's just about them, the lack of goals against so far this year. What's the number? Is it 7?
4 even strength goals in
Yeah.
4 games against, which really, really good.
So we'll have clip 9, please, Derek.
I think the mindset more than anything is there with the checking side of things. We're pretty tight on people. We're not giving up odd man rushes, and we've got to continue to stress that, not giving up odd man rushes. I thought we were in our end too much last night. I'm not sure I mentioned that to you guys, but for me, we let them come at us a little bit too much. We didn't get up enough and in the neutral zone well enough. But in saying that, we were good at our net and we were good in the slot area, keeping them outside. They shot a lot of pucks from the point.
See, and you guys have heard me the last few years on bad pinches,
Mm-hmm.
and that's
They were addicted to
outside
it
of
for
a
a
few turnovers in the neutral zone last night. We have not seen blatant 150-foot 2-on-1s coming down the other end.
No,
And that has cleaned up in the first 4 games.
I was trying to find rush numbers, but it's definitely been better. And, that goes such a long way for a team like the Leafs, who you used to look at sometimes they get a little run and gunny, and you would often say on our show, like, that's just not playoff hockey. That's just not sustainable.
and it's-
that's why they lost to the Montreal Canadiens years ago in the North Division.
And not managing the clock and not
Yeah.
picking your spots. Like there's times to gamble. There's times to take educated guesses,
Yeah.
but they've been horrible over the years on that.
We haven't talked about him a lot this year, but Benoit slotted on the third pair is so nice. Not that he's been exceptional this year. He hasn't been good, bad, or otherwise. But when he was playing second pair with McCabe, little above his ability probably, right?
Yeah.
But you feel very good about a guy who defends the blue line, finishes his check. He's a good third pair guy. So once they figure out whoever he's going to play with.
Played 20 minutes last night.
Did he really?
He did. 20-29 last night.
Wow.
12:35 on Saturday against Pittsburgh. So
It'll be interesting if Hakanpää does come in and stretches out a few games here where he kind of fits in.
I'd imagine with Benoit probably on the
What a
pair.
couple of butchers.
You need two of them.
I
You
mean,
think
I think a lot of people would say you'd like someone to break the puck out.
that's
You
what
know?
I'm thinking. Like two of them at that. I don't know. Maybe the chemistry would work. Maybe it won't. But is it one of those things where Hakanpää's actually looked upon that if Benoit goes down or if he's not available, then we got him to kind of slot in and take over that role? Or is there actually a role in a top six one day for both of them to be in the lineup?
Yeah, I guess that does remain to be seen. I don't have the answer to that. I got to see them together.
Yeah, I guess that's probably why they've tried. They had Timmins with Benoit, who's a guy who, quote unquote, snaps it and can break it out and play with a more defensive guy. And then they tried Liljegren last night, who's sort of supposed to be that guy as well.
You saw.
But I guess that the reason that Benoit's numbers bumped up is because 5 guys played way more than the 6th guy, right? So
yeah.
Would it bother you if Tanev's the only right-handed D?
Yeah. Wouldn't it bother you?
I'd like another one for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, like you can't help but feel like Timmins is going to find a way to fall down a manhole cover or something, or without the cover on it or something. I guess that would be just called the manhole.
correct.
But, he's had bad luck in his career. Would he have mono at one point? So if he's healthy, though, I'd rather see Timmins get back in. Let him have a chance at running away with the job here.
Yeah.
All right. Do we get a little Berube love on OEL?
He talked about him today and what he liked about him. Clip.
Well, he's a player that's played a lot of minutes in this league at times. Last year, he's probably around 20 or just under a little bit, and penalty kill and things like that. He right now is an all situational guy for us. So, depending on the game and what's going on in the game, and the flow of the game, that'll determine the minutes for him.
I will say right now. So if the season was 4 games long, Brad Treliving will have had the greatest offseason in the history of hockey.
Each edition's been very good.
Stolarz has been unbelievable, godsend for them, who we barely even mentioned, but was good again last night. Ekman Larson and Tanev have changed the decor.
Ekman Larson's like running into people.
You want the Stanley Cup playoffs to start right now.
Lorentz may be one of the best 4th-liner signings in the league.
In the history.
Yeah. And Domi's been unbelievable. He lead the team in points, got 5 assists already. It's like, wow, Treliving wants it to start right now.
Yeah.
Can we fast forward to the
I think you want it to start right now,
right.
the first
You're
round.
Right. You're right, I do.
We can't leave the Leafs hour without getting an update on Joseph Woll.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is a really good
Clip
update.
7, please.
Very good. He's doing well. Keep him going here. We'll see where he's at tomorrow.
You get a chance he's a full go tomorrow?
That's a good question. I think we'll see how today goes, and then we'll make a decision on it. So we're not going to rush him.
Would you put him in?
We're not going to rush him.
Would you put him in against the Rangers?
Wait, what, a bubble? I'd put him in a bubble.
Would you put him
No.
in against Tampa Bay?
Columbus, second half of the back-to-back. That's where he's going.
What's that?
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday's good.
Yep.
That means you're giving the Hildebeest either Tampa Bay or the Rangers, or you're going Stolarz.
Stolarz, baby. He's the starting goalie. You know how good he's been? I don't even think about Wall. I don't. I'm like, there's another guy that's going to come in here?
Was last night
I don't think about you at all.
Exactly.
Most insulting thing ever.
I just don't.
Did they mention that consecutive starts in the NHL? That was the first time last night that he's played 3 games in a row in the NHL.
They did mention that, yeah.
So now you're
Win,
going to go 5 times in a row.
Yeah, first time in his career he's played 5 in a row too.
Hey,
Yeah.
great test.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
The way
Hey.
Wool's been, you're going to need him.
I've got to wish Lori a happy 60th birthday. You know who Lori is?
Tell me.
It's Mike Fuda's sister. And you know why I have to do it?
Why?
Because he forgot in his own show.
Oh, my God.
Yes.
Happy birthday, Lori.
Big
Lori.
now media superstar Mike Fuda
Couldn't even
remember his sister's birthday.
Oh.
Wow.
And he reached out to you. He felt that bad?
Yeah.
What a guy.
Happy birthday.
Now
Happy
Kip is
birthday.
going to sing to it.
All right. Don't go away.
My bad.
Still warming up here. For all your birthday wishes on the Real Kyper and Bourne show, send a note to Sammy.
Yeah.
Yeah, send a note to Cameo.
We're back
and
with
pay
the
Kip for
National
15
Hour
bucks.
coming up next. The Real Kyper and Bourne Show goes national. We are live on Sportsnet 650 in Vancouver and Sportsnet 960 in Calgary. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Nick Kypreos, Justin Bourne, Sammy McKee. In a few minutes, we'll welcome in Jason York, co-host of the Coming in Hot Sens podcast. Always fun to have Jason York on. Close to 800 games played in the National Hockey League.
Coming in hot. Sens. 8 goals last game.
Tons of pressure on them. Our Elliot Friedman said that they will win the Atlantic Division.
I think he said they'd win the cup.
What?
No.
Oh,
he
my
said
God.
they'd make playoffs.
Make the playoffs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But let's build them up.
Still no Allmark tonight.
No Almar.
I had my buddy Chris Jetty. He's a Sens fan. He said, he's a little worried about the way you and Valley have been talking about Allmark. And yesterday the joke was, oh, they're playing New Jersey next. I bet you Allmark's not ready. Allmark's not ready. And I think people are getting nervous.
I don't know. Listen, Valley's my goalie expert.
Yeah.
I'm just
It's like
I'm
a
just a
coach like
follower.
wash your hands of it. It's like, that's our goalie guy. I don't know.
he just gave me a whole new world to think about on top of what I ever thought as a player looking at a goalie.
Yeah.
Where I just at the end of the day looked at him and said, yeah, you guys are nothing but targets.
Forsberg gonna have to be pretty good,
Oh, and he was not very good last time we saw him.
but he can be. I like Forsberg.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it'd be interesting to get Jason York's take because we saw a huge signing by the Dallas Stars and how the goaltending market apparently has been reset at $8.25 million. Jake
So
Ottinger,
you tweeted about the tax
8
difference.
times 8.25, identical contract to Jeremy Swayman of the Boston Bruins.
but not identical money.
Well, my good friend Stu Gavin and Gavin Management, but now it's Cardinal Point because Stu made a lot of money.
Way to go, Stu. He managed that well. Pretty damn good.
But my good buddy Matt Bakioki still has this calculator on their site that you plug in everyone's salary, and then you can go literally team by team to see what's left after taxes.
Yeah.
And the difference between Ottinger's 8.25 and Jeremy Swayman's 8.25 is $415,000, I think, per season.
Oh, my
It'd
God.
be nice just to get the difference.
I mean, it's almost like it's a competitive advantage.
$3.3 million over the course of the contract.
Well, gee, I wonder why all these guys sign in these places with no tax. What a great
that
advantage.
It also doesn't even take into effect, what's the cost of living in Dallas, Boston? I tried to rent an apartment in Boston once.
But you can't go within like a half an hour for a decent hotel these days in New York and Boston for like $800 a night.
It's insanity.
It's
You
crazy.
can buy a home in Dallas for
Yeah,
At
the
a
cost of
hotel.
hotels.
One night at a hotel to fall asleep.
Yeah.
$800.
It is wild. Hotel prices are insane.
Insane.
But
But the industry's never been hotter. Like
Yeah.
people are challenged up to their eyeballs with inflation and cost of living and grocery prices. And these guys have never made more money.
No.
Are
The
we-
hotel industry.
Did a City News 680 segment just break out here?
Here's what we think the Fed should do about it.
What were we talking about again?
Ottinger's contract making $400,000. But, okay, not to be Toronto guy in the National Hour, but I will represent Toronto guy. I'll represent other markets that have
Yeah.
high taxes. Shouldn't the league do something about this?
No.
Why the hell not?
Because
Why do you always say no to that
it's
question?
not their business.
But it's- so they-
taxes aren't their business.
So I guess the answer to my question is yes, but Gary Bettman wants the non-traditional markets in the South with no tax to have more success than the ones that drive the revenue of the league.
No,
Because that's what's happening.
It is happening. I agree.
It happens every year.
I don't
every
think
team
Gary
that wins a cup.
gives a flying you-know-what about
That sucks.
taxes.
It sucks. Because you look at every final for the last 5 years or whatever has had a no-tax team in it. It's a competitive. We have the proof of it being a competitive advantage. So, I don't know. It sucks.
Do hockey players, would they get paid as a business? Are they able to?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Sure. They can incorporate. They can find different ways to save money. And there's
So not pay it all as personal
there is
tax?
this deferred RCA, and I think
Well, that's the Tavares
I
thing.
think it may have to do with Tavares trying to save $8 million. But
Can't blame him.
the biggest
Buy a lot of ambulance.
the biggest argument
You beat me
now.
to it.
The biggest argument now, I think, where governments and are looking at, especially signing bonuses, right? What is a signing bonus? A signing bonus should be, this is your money just for stroking your signature on a check. It's an incentive
Right,
for you to
the
sign.
contract.
But is it really incentive, or is it hidden in real money as a salary?
And if you're incentivized to sign the contract, you're incentivized once. You're getting that signing bonus in some cases every year.
Yes.
So what sense does it make?
So there's so many arguments from the government side to say it's not a signing bonus, because if the guy quits tomorrow, a signing bonus is guaranteed and he doesn't have to return the money. And if he quits tomorrow, you're not paying him the signing bonus.
Right.
So you're just hiding it
Well, and what's
into a base salary.
and now there's guys deferring salary so they can collect it when they live somewhere with lower taxes, which I'm sure the government is.
Yeah.
Like Shohei Ohtani. He's getting paid.
Shohei.
He's getting paid $3 a year, and he's going to make $750 million down the road.
So yeah. So
How is that
don't get
possible?
taxed on it now. Get taxed on it when you retire and you're back in Sweden or back in wherever you're from.
Do you think people are enjoying this?
So-
It wouldn't take my taxes in Sweden. I can tell you that. Do you think people are enjoying this CPA hour here?
Well, I
get
think
my boy Darren Roche on here.
I do think it matters though in the conversation in terms of these teams. Like being able to tell a guy you're going to make $400,000 extra a year is a pretty easy
That's
sell.
incentive.
It's a pretty easy sell.
So Stamkos goes from Tampa Bay to Nashville, and they're very friendly too on the taxes
Yeah, I think he's
too.
no tax either way. He's laughing.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
laughing.
Yeah. Must
Do you
be
think
nice.
Jason York paid his taxes, or do you think
I think he
People-
made an.
are people looking for him?
I don't know.
Let's welcome in Jason York, co-host of the Coming In Hot Sens podcast. Yorkie, did you how creative was your accountant?
Okay. Well, is there a statute of limitations here? Am I gonna-
7 years, I think, buddy. 7 years.
Listen, this whole tax thing in Canada is hogwash. You can actually make more money if you play in Canada if you have a proper tax accountant. Guys do it all the time. It's called an RCA.
Yep.
You can pay 20% tax. You know the catch though, Kyper.
Yep.
You just gotta be able to go to an American city later in your career and spend 2 years though. So I don't buy that thing. I listened a little bit of you guys' conversation though. If you have the right people around you and you do some good tax planning, it could actually be more advantageous for you to play in Canada. It really can.
Really? Curious because Tavares is going through some debate with the government over that, right?
Yeah. No, I saw that.
So later in your life, you have to spend 2 years in an American city.
Don't quote me on this, but you can basically set up a tax planning strategy where your money goes into a trust and you take X amount of dollars out to live on. And then when you go to the States, you pull it out at a lower tax rate.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a loophole. I'm probably going to get some guys in trouble here, but it's totally legal. It's totally legal. And some players take advantage of it. Some players don't. But the smart players do.
All right, pal. Enough of the
Okay.
accounting.
I'm not an accountant, boys. I've got grade 11 math, right? So this is just
You do? I
this is
failed
just-
grade 11 math.
We play one on TV. Every year, whether we played or not, Yorkie, a lot of optimism when it comes to training camp. Everybody's got great draft picks. Everybody's got the guy that's going to be the answer for their hockey club, and then the dust settles, and then we get to American Thanksgiving. But where are you now when it comes to the Ottawa Senators compared to what you saw last year, moving into this year? Travis Green, The blue line without Chychrun.
Goaltending. A lot better, Kyper, a lot better. If you look at what Steve Staios addressed in the summer to where this team was last year and to where they are right now, number one, they couldn't get a save last year to save their lives. I think they led the league in goals scored on first or second shots of the hockey game. So 22 times last year, Bourne, I know you're a stats guy, you'll love this. 22 times last year, they gave up a goal on the first or second shot of the hockey game.
Insane.
You can't win that way. It's insane. It's insane. So you got to think just having Ullmark here is probably going to account to at least, 10 to 12 more points in the standings, then add in what they did on the blue line. Like, they had way too many left shots that played the same way. They had Shabbat, they had Chychrun, they had Sanderson, and they had Brandstrom, all left shot, like pretty well power play guys. So you bring in Jensen. I know he's older, but I think he's a better fit, and he's a right D that just plays defense, and that's what they needed. Cleven's a rookie. He's a big body, which they need. It's going to take him some time, but they did some nice things. I love the Jensen move. The Ullmark trade was, to me, an absolute steal, and then getting him signed to the contract they did a couple weeks ago, I thought was a real nice number. And then you brought in some veterans, Kyper. Like, that core needed guys like a David Pearl to come in, say the right things, and just, he's been there, done that, right? He's won a cup before, so I like the moves they did. Also, too, I thought Amadio was a nice under the radar signing, guys. He's on their third line. So to me, they've got some more depth. They've got a goaltender. They got a right shot D. I think they're a much better hockey team. They're 2-1, but tonight's going to be a really good test, guys, because I think New Jersey's a real good team.
How do you think the organization views themselves competitively, like in terms of making further additions this year? Do you think that is, they'll be saying, hey, we've identified we could still a couple pieces and we might be able to actually get in? Do you think they would do it?
I think so. I think anytime you go out and you pay for a number one goaltender, right? Like what they did, and you go out and sign some veterans. I think in a perfect world, they want to be a team that's right there come the last 10 games of the season and be in the mix to get in the playoffs. I think that's where this team is right now. That's where they view themselves, as a team that can get in if they get goaltending, the signings play to the way they do, and their young core, which is Stützle, which is Kachuk, Batherson, Ridley, Gray, Pinto, if those guys all take another step this year. So yeah, I view them that way. They view themselves that way. But you got to do the math, right, guys? Every year, if they're getting in, who's coming out? That's what I always do, and it just, man, it's never been tougher to make the playoffs. But I think they'll be there in the mix in those last 10 games. I really do.
You mentioned Ullmark. The hope, I think, was to see him against New Jersey, but he's going to take an extra day off. But was the game against LA a friendly reminder of, if you don't have great goaltending, you're in big trouble?
Oh, and they LA left Kemper in for all 8 fellas, all 8. Like that was tough to watch on both sides. It was even Travis Green came on the other day and he goes, we need some saves. So it's a good reminder. I'll give Forsberg a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, though. One of the 3 goals he let in, one was unstoppable, one was a lucky bounce. I think out of the 3, probably wants 1 back. So he wasn't terrible. It was just they came so quickly in the first period. So yeah, for sure. This team's not going to be a playoff team without Linus Ullmark. That much is for certain. Like, that's why they brought him in, guys. That's why he's here.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, and he is going to play an important part. Tell me about the core of that team and where you think it's at. We've watched it in Toronto for years. You get excited about good young players, and then you kind of wait for them to become winners. Is Stützle ready to find that next level, and is Giroux still got it in him at this stage in his career?
I think Claude's still got it, guys. That fire in him still burning. Like, he's a competitive guy. He stays here in the summer. I know he trains with. He trains hard. He's still in great shape. So to me, Claude Giroux is still a good player. The question is Stützle ready to lead this team? You know what? Time will tell. Let's watch the first 10 to 20 games here. I know he had a great summer. He's put on a little bit of that man strength. You start getting a little bit later. Early on you don't have it. Now he looks like he's thicker. He's more filled out. He's off to a good start. I think he's got 6 points in his first 3 games. He can be dominant at times. The thing with Tim Stützle, he just has to eliminate the decisions, the bad decisions you make, the young mistake decisions you make at the blue line. And we'll see. Like I think he's going to be a star in this league. At times he shows he's a star in this league, but it's got to be consistent all the time.
Has Stützle been their best forward?
He's been really good. Do you know who's been really good to start the season off, guys? It's Drake Batherson.
Mm-hmm.
That game against LA, he made 2 really big plays. He got the primary assist on Norris's tying goal, and then he made a heck of a play in overtime. Stützle started it off, but Batherson, he's just got really good patience with the puck. He takes a lot of heat in Ottawa for his defensive side of games, but he is, for people that don't really follow the Ottawa Senators, he's a really sneaky good player. So I think between Batherson and Stützle, they've been the 2 best forwards.
Now, where's Jake Sanderson on the scale of about to be an NHL star? Is this the year? Is it going to happen? Because he seems real close to me. I love the player.
Yeah. Barney, he does. Like, if you're a hockey nerd like yourself, like me, you watch little things that players' games. Like, I watch when he goes back for pucks. And if he doesn't have some time, he's able to get separation. Maybe it's a spinorama move. Maybe he'll go slow, then go fast. But he does so many little things. I don't know if he's ever going to be a guy that gets 70 points because he loves defending. And when you defend that much, you got to give up some offense, right? So I am a big fan, guys. That much I can tell you. I just think of all the young defensemen in the league right now, I'd put my money on him as being the best 2-way defenseman. I'm talking about defending and offense because he can skate, he can move the puck, but I also love how he defends, Bourne. This guy loves to be matched up against the other team's top forwards. He takes it on as a challenge, and you don't see that often in young defensemen who just come into the league.
So here in Toronto with Craig Berube, there's been a feel that things are different. We got an example of it last night when the Leafs were up by a handful of goals, and he still called a timeout to give them crap. Where's Travis Green on his impact so far for the Ottawa Senators?
First of all, I love how Berube coaches, fellas. I love that. The guy, I actually think he's going to change some of the culture in Toronto. I really do. But as far as Travis Green is concerned, they had a really tough training camp. Like, he's notorious for having hard camps. So number one, he came in, and in years past, Ottawa was accused and being a little bit of a country club. Like, guys would, wasn't a lot of guys were pretty comfortable. I thought he came in and had a real tough camp. And then now they've got some competition, like with those guys they brought in, like Amadio, like Perron. There's going to be internal competition throughout the lineup. Ridley Gregg's actually another player that's taken a step. So I think the players amongst themselves are going to be, Kyper, with good. If you want to be a good team, to me, it's got to come from within your room. So I think internally that's going to happen. But I think Travis is going to be a guy that holds these guys accountable as well. So if you see a guy having a shift off, he's not going to be afraid to sit him down and put somebody else out there.
So kind of a fun stage in Ottawa Senators fandom, I would say. You just got a new owner who's willing to spend money. You have some bright young stars and you're hopeful. You got a goaltender now. You got a new coach. Things are coming together. Where are we at on the rink? Is this the sort of the next step? I think fans have a lot to be excited about. Is that one of them?
I think so. I think the rink's still a little bit of ways, Barney.
Yeah.
Like, I think in a perfect world, it's there in probably 6 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there's still, I think that's probably the time frame. There's still a lot of stuff that needs to get done. But I do think it will be down there. It's just going to take some time. And in the meantime, they're doing some work here on the rink. Like, they're fixing things up. They're making the viewer experience better for the fan. I know they've done a massive reno on the players' locker room, the gym and all that. So it's going to come. It's like everything, especially in Ottawa, guys. Like, there's a lot of bureaucracy to get around here. Yeah. So, you know what? That'll all get sorted down. But I think realistically, in a perfect world, you're probably looking at 6 years.
Is downtown still the only spot for the new rink? Because there has been growth over the years outside of downtown. And, I think 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it was a no-brainer. You'd love it downtown. But is it still today the place that they have to be?
You know what's funny, Kipper? Where they're going to put the rink, LeBreton Flats, if you're familiar with downtown Ottawa, it's not exactly right in the downtown core. It's kind of off to the side. But the nice thing about this site, it's really accessible to Quebec. And one of the big things Michael Andlauer and his group have tried to do is they've tried to re-engage the fans from Gatineau and the fans from Hull. And in years past, those fans were ignored. So being there, it's basically just a 5-minute drive over the bridge. That's a big reason why they like this parcel of land. And it's also, downtown Ottawa, it's close enough where this is going to help invigorate it. Because don't forget what's going on in Ottawa, guys. You got the government of Canada here. Nobody was going to work for the last 4 years. So they built this light rail system that's going to take everybody to downtown. So now they really need this rink, not only for the hockey club, but to get people going back downtown again. So the Senators actually had some leverage in this where city wants it, team wants it, everybody wants it. It's good for everybody.
They need to work on the transit though, correct? Like that's a big deal.
Kipper, if it gets too cold here, the transit doesn't work. It's ridiculous, and it's taken forever to build. It's just it's been a complete gong show. It'll eventually get going, but it's just, you ask anybody in Ottawa what grinds their gears, it's this light rail that they started to build, costing way too much money and taking way too much time.
Just a fantastic political show we're doing today.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
We got tax, we got tax advice, we got politics. What else do you guys want?
How about the infrastructure issues of Ottawa?
So, okay, let's turn it back on Elliot Friedman. He said that the Senators are the next dynasty in the NHL. They'll win 3 consecutive Stanley Cups.
He did say that.
Where are you on the Sens making the playoffs this year?
I'm of the mind they're going to be in the mix at the end, fellas.
Are they going to get in?
I predicted they would get in. Like, I see them as a wild card. That was my prediction. We did our coming in hot show, so I got to stick with it. And to me, it's going to be all dependent on Linus Ullmark. Like, we can talk all we want about the young core. We can talk about the D. If you don't have a goalie, it doesn't matter what you do. You got to have a goalie. So in my opinion, they have a goalie now, which is why I have them to make the playoffs.
What is Ullmark's issue? How come he's not playing tonight? Did he pull something? He's not feeling right?
I think it's a groin strain. This is my personal opinion.
Yes.
It's just based on training camp. He was out skating today, looked pretty good, taking his goalie drills. I think they're just being cautious. You know the old thing, why turn a strain into a pull?
It's got mad cow disease.
Mad cow disease.
How about the competitors trying to climb into the playoffs from in the Atlantic? Do you like Buffalo or Detroit more? Who's more of a threat to the Sens?
I'm not, I think Detroit's not quite at Ottawa's level. I look at the goaltending again. I look, who's your goalie there? If I've got it, if it comes down to the last 10 games, I'm going to take Ullmark over Detroit's tandem. Right. Same thing with Buffalo. To me, if you look at the good teams in the league, they all have something in common versus, Edmonton's different, Colorado's different, although Colorado's 1-4, but there seems to be you look at Dallas, Ottinger, you look at the Rangers, Shesterkin, you look at Florida, Bobrovsky. Mm-hmm. You can go around the league. Like, unless you've got a supercharged team, you need a goalie. And that's why I kind of have Ottawa a nudge above the Buffaloes and Detroits of the world.
Jorgen, we saw the Edmonton Oilers save their last game late in the third period to come up with their first win. But Nashville, 0-4, Colorado, 0-4. What do you attribute to these teams that we thought were going to compete for the Stanley Cup this early?
So who's carrying the puck through the neutral zone in Nashville? Like, you got a bunch of shooters. Like, you got guys that aren't puck carriers, guys that transit the puck through the neutral zone. Mm-hmm. I know they've got goaltending, their defense, but I love Stamkos as a player. Love the other moves they made. I don't find them down the middle to have the guys that you need to create time and space so your shooters can get the shots off. So I was a little bit bewildered by some of the moves they made. And I love Trotz. I played for Trotz for a couple of years. I hope they do well. I hope it's a blip in the radar. I just don't see Nashville as a playoff team this year.
No, I'm good.
All right, pal. Really appreciate your time. Yorkie, always a pleasure to have you on our show.
Anytime you want tax advice, Kyper, just let me know.
Thanks, Yorkie. Appreciate your insight, buddy.
Hey, do you do medical advice? I know we've got an orthopedic surgeon now on our show, but Jason Smith. But do you do medical?
Dude, I've had so many injuries. Like I'm actually probably could be a registered physiotherapist. So, injuries, just let me know, man. I'll help you out.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate your time.
That is Jason, you're a co-host of the Coming In Hot Sens podcast. So a lot of excitement there.
About our political conversations.
Well,
there is
listen,
excitement in Ottawa.
Yeah, and not to go back and beat this up, but like he talked about the location downtown and the ability for people maybe to come from Quebec.
Mm-hmm.
But like, so if transit sucks as bad as he said, like, where's everybody parking?
Buddy, I don't know.
It's
Ottawa.
It's a small piece of land.
I've been to Ottawa, I think, twice ever. So I don't know. I can't.
And we looked at
weigh
it.
in
My
on it.
group looked at it.
Yeah.
And it was a challenge downtown.
Well, I like that he said that the city is incentivized to build transit.
Yeah.
You know,
I know.
everyone's on the same page here.
Eventually it'll
that's-
come.
That's good when you have everyone on the same page. All I know is watching the difference for the New York Islanders when they finally got a proper rink with proper transit to the building.
Yeah.
It's night and day when you can get mass people to the rink. It's really nice.
Yeah. I take the subway to Leaf games.
So is Willie Nylander.
Yeah, you and Willie.
Do you?
I do.
You'd be nuts not to take it.
Yeah, it is the easiest way to get in.
Well, and the way everybody left the lower bowl last night in a 6-2 win, you'd think that they all were driving on the Gardner.
Don't
but
fan shame.
that was a joke. Why are you leaving? Your team, you're not going to stay for
It's
the
a
song?
7:30 start.
Oh, yeah. So
Late. People got to get up in the morning.
Yeah, every single person in the lower bowl who had 7 glasses of Chardonnay had to leave immediately. Give me a break. You're not going to stay for the Maxine Nightingale?
For what?
The 3 stars? You're at the Leaf game. They just don't care. That's the thing that drives me crazy. They don't care. They're just like, oh, yeah, we get to come and watch our Leafs. We got our ticks comped. We don't care. Out we go. People
Oh
would
no, they're not
eat the
comped.
rich.
They're not
No,
comped.
it's true.
They
Eat 'em.
hey, they paid $800 for
Yeah.
a pair
Out of their pocket.
in the golds.
And they're like, oh, we don't care. This is disposable income. Who cares?
This is easily the weirdest show we've ever done.
No, it's just, it drives me crazy. Like the Leafs are to literally put a beat down on a team and you're up 6-2, Tavares scores. Everyone heads for the exits. What are we doing? They're winning. It's insane.
Just go to the next game and stop them.
I would, like, if
Can't
I was,
afford to.
yeah, are you kidding me? Buddy, I'm not you guys. I don't make all the money on this show. I can't afford to go to a Leaf game. If I'm going to the press box, applying for a press pass. Anyways, sorry to get so.
Anyway.
It
But
just
yeah.
pissed me off last night. I couldn't believe that.
I'm blocking you on my Twitter.
Yeah.
Well,
What a
Kyper,
loser.
You'd be you'd be halfway home by halfway through the second period.
Listen to Joe Bowen in the
Share
Mercedes.
Club, one or the other.
Do you need a break to calm down,
Yeah.
or would you
No,
like
no,
to
we
go
need
to
a break.
game time?
We all need a break.
We'll take a break. We better head out early.
Okay.
Just in case, if you leave the game 2 minutes early, you might not get stuck in traffic on the
Traffic
Gardner.
on the Gardner, pal.
Oh yeah, it's
Gardner's
it's going to be a lot better if you leave 1 minute early. No question. You're beating the Gardner. It's 2 lanes. It's going to be bad.
Time to go to commercial break
Please.
Yes,
and get Sammy to calm down.
I'm done.
More real Kyper and Bourne
Chamomile tea for everyone.
after these words. Last block, game time, news and notes. This hour of Real Kyper and Bourne brought to you by Bet365. Let her rip, Sammy.
It's game time presented by Bet365. Visit the app, latest odds, and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 18 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. A couple ones I was looking at for tonight. Edmonton Oilers minus 130 at the Nashville Predators. Plus 110 on the money line for the Preds. Feels like that was a bit of a monkey off the back for the Oilers.
Yeah.
They're going on the road for the first time here. Maybe a little bit, team bonding, guys getting together. They're going out there. Maybe Connor McDavid will crack a smile on this road trip and they can have some fun, maybe win a game. Maybe not. Maybe him and Leon will just be grumpy the whole time as usual. But give me a Edmonton Oilers win tonight on the money line at minus
They're
130.
grumpy, aren't they?
They are.
It's a long year, to be honest.
God, they're just grumps.
I guess they've been losing.
Why are you so pissy?
Bingo. The San Jose Sharks are in Chicago. The Chicago Blackhawks are minus 190 favorites against the San Jose Sharks. I don't think either of these teams are particularly good. I think they both actually reek, in fact. I think they both suck. So give me the San Jose Sharks plus 160 as an underdog.
Oof.
Absolutely.
And
Sharks are bad, though. Eh?
yeah, they're both bad. They're both bad hockey teams.
Well, kind of lends towards a lot of bad teams out there.
Absolutely. And the LA Dodgers, again, minus 135 tonight at the New York Mets. I picked my Mets last night, and boy, they got smoked. 9-zip final.
Listen, well,
Baseball's crazy.
New York, the state of New York would love a Subway Series. It's got to be Yankees and Dodgers for the ultimate.
Oh my God, if you're MLB, you're dying for those two markets.
You can't. At the end of the day, it's, say what you will about New York being the biggest city in the world, it's still like, it's a regional World Series.
That's like getting Rangers Hawks in the finals. Like that's like the cream of the crop for them to have. But I'm actually going to go back to the well tonight. New York Mets have been bouncing back all year, and I think they're going to bounce back again tonight. Give me the New York Mets again tonight.
As we have Mr. Met on our TV here.
Yeah.
This is
And they are plus 115. So a bit of a dog, bit of a plus money. They've been bouncing back all year.
a couple of bucks.
And if they're going to have any chance, they got to win tonight. So give me the Mets. And that was
amazing Mets.
There we go.
Why do they call them that? Because they're amazing.
That was Game Time, presented by Bet365. Visit the app, latest odds, and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. It's 19 plus. Ontario only. Please play responsibly.
Pittsburgh Penguins and the Buffalo Sabres last night went into overtime.
Yeah.
And a Malkin Crosby show last night. Both hitting milestones.
Yeah.
And we saw the love fest, I think, after the game with those two guys and
Biz.
the panel of TNT. So life's all good.
You listen to it? So Lundqvist goes on and he's talking about how basically
miserable he made them.
Yeah, like, and then who's the host there again?
Liam McHugh.
Does a
He's
great job.
He's really,
But then he's just like, hey, Hank, did you know that you're the goalie that Sid has the most points against and Gino has the most goals against? Did you know that, Hank? And I was like, oh my
his
God.
legs out from
Like,
under
you guys must have a great relationship. Like, holy crap.
But Gino was right. They've played him 100
Oh, they played him
plus
forever.
times.
Of course. They played 1,000,000 games against him, so it makes sense. But yeah, I think it's pretty amazing. And listen, we can talk all you want about the Dubas stuff, and it's hard for me to root for them because of that. But it's incredible that these guys are still playing together.
Mm-hmm.
And it probably wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Sid. It wasn't like the end of the Hextall-Burke thing. They were going to let him walk, and then there was the conversation with Sid. There's a whole story about how they wanted to keep all those guys together. It's amazing that they're still playing together. He's in year 18.
They're going to have a lot of fun nights like last night to get them close.
They
they let 5 up against.
What a goal by Gino from the ice.
On his ass.
Yeah.
Second in scoring in the NHL has 8 points. Evgeny Malkin leading your National Hockey League with 11.
That's awesome.
And
really cool.
I love
they
Evgeny
they put is it Rutger
McGroarty, which is
McGroarty.
Hardest name ever to say.
Eat a spoonful of peanut butter and say that name. Rutger McGroarty.
This is the guy that kind of gave Winnipeg I want to go play in the NHL somewhere else, and now he's not playing in the NHL.
Yeah, he's a young buck.
Yeah,
he's got time. But yeah, I know some people. You thought you enjoyed that as a Dubas guy.
He's a kid. He's going up and down.
Yeah.
But it was more bucks. I was fired up about that. But here's what I'll say. On the broadcast on Saturday night, Chris Cuthbert does a wonderful job for Sportsnet, was talking about Rutger's dad and how Jim McGroarty's like, this is how I know he's a hockey guy. He's like, go check out Jim's hockey DB.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the best hockey DBs you'll ever look. So I went and looked at it. It is an incredible hockey DB. Like some of the weirdest teams that I never even knew existed. He played with Wayne Gretzky's brother Brent with the Asheville Smoke for a year.
You don't remember the Asheville Smoke?
No, I do. I actually went to a game when I was a kid there.
Or is Asheville in Ontario?
No, it's in North
no
Carolina.
idea they existed.
North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Asheville, North Carolina. Went to a game with my dad, my great uncle.
That's very obscure.
Yeah, so there you go.
Favorite hockey DB page, Jared Scaldi. I think he played for 21 teams or something, like 7 leagues. Good one. Anyway.
What were the 1993-1994 Daytona Beach Sun Devils like? What was that like as a hockey team?
I know we got into all the tax talk about Jake Ottinger's contract, but like they're all in with this guy, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, and he had that incredible playoff series against Calgary, but is there enough for you to say that, or is it kind of split whether or not this guy will be the man that they think?
You know,
The
I think you
contract
got to do it
shows.
right. Like it's so hard to find a number one goalie, get him in your jersey, and then keep him. You just got to hope, right? You cross your fingers. I don't have like some impassioned opinion that he's like garbage or he's amazing. I actually hate this take more than any take, particularly when we have guests on and they're like, we'll see. But that's kind of how I feel about Ottinger, where it's like, I agree there's been some concerning playoff moments, but you just got to cross your fingers.
Not convinced on him.
No.
I think he's good. I think he's good enough. But there's been moments where I think he could be a lot better, especially in that series against the Oilers.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they shot a few holes in him.
Yeah.
Pretty convincingly.
Oilers do that, though.
For sure. They made a lot of goalies look like that, including Connor. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, I did think of the U.S. team's goaltending situation heading into the face-off.
Okay, so
could they make a trade?
What's it called?
Could we trade for
Face-off?
one of them? Four Nations face-off. buddy. Come on, it's our product. Come on. Get it together.
Ottinger, Swayman,
Yeah, they're going to have Hellebuck and
And
Swayman,
Hellebuck.
and then Ottinger.
So who's
Isn't
who's
Demko American too?
Yes. But Demko's
Good Lord.
who's starting for you right today?
Swayman.
Honestly, it's probably Swayman,
Swayman.
but Hellebuck is everyone. He just won the Vezina, guys. He's okay.
Yeah, and he was
I've seen him in a lot of big games.
Swiss cheese in the playoffs.
But it's more what Valley said about his playoffs, that he's like, I thought I played pretty good. That wasn't on me.
Yeah, like I think I would be happier with Ottinger or Hellebuck as a Canadian hockey fan. I mean, I watched Connor McDavid shoot holes in him. I watched Nathan McKinnon shoot holes in Connor Hellebuck.
It's definitely where Canada is weakest. You look at like Finland, they got Saros and Luukkonen.
Yeah.
And then Sweden is Markstrom and Allmark.
Yeah.
And then we're you and me.
Yeah.
Kyper is third string.
Yeah. Montembeau is on some boards.
Yeah.
Aiden Hill, Bennington is on some boards. Like it's
Roll those dice, baby. Roll
Get
those
hot like
dice.
Kyper playing craps.
I will say our forwards are still absurd and like the demise of Hockey Canada. People need to get a little
We're
bit
loaded.
I just hear a lot of other nations getting a little bit horned up about how they're catching up and they're getting better than Canada. It's
Well,
like,
Sam McKee, I have some information for you.
oh, do you?
Yeah. The amount of Canadians in the NHL compared to Americans. There is 41.2. James Myrtle wrote an article he does every year for The Athletic on stats, heights, weights, whatever. And I think it's fascinating. 41% of the NHL Canadian this year, 28.6 American, which is way, way up. 20 years ago, 15% of the NHL was American. We're almost at 30.
They're going to take over.
They are.
Just the
A
percentages
decade ago,
of
it was
numbers.
23. We're up to 20, almost 29.
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
So
It's just hockey's growing. Texas, California,
Pittsburgh, Chicago, California, St.
they're all.
Louis,
It's all.
DC.
It's just the percentages.
Yeah,
Okay.
they got 9 times the population or whatever.
Yeah.
We got to fight. We got to dig in.
I'm okay. Honestly, like they can create as many hockey players as they want. It's fine. But they just
Can't have the best ones.
Till they lose the gold medal game to the U.S., and you're crying like a baby.
I will be weeping. If that happens.
Weeping.
Weeping. Like,
And
there's
then,
nothing.
and then Justin and I and Stan the man will call you a loser.
I have to say,
Loser.
there's not a lot of outcomes that horrify me more than losing a gold medal game to the USA.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
I'd take
that one's
any
gonna
other.
sting you.
I'd take any other nation.
gonna
I would
sting.
take.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
take Russia. I'd take Sweden.
Go
I'd
ahead,
take
Czechs. Take it
anyone.
in a shootout.
USA. That's an outcome I have a tough time with.
Let me give you some interesting
You're a
factoids,
loser.
and you can tell me if they're interesting or not. What I think are interesting. No 40-year-olds in the NHL right now. I don't know when the last time that ever would have been. Marc-Andre Fleury, the oldest player, 39.9. Ryan Suter, 39.7. That should surprise you.
40's old.
League getting too fast for 40-year-olds.
40's tough.
Ovechkin, the fifth oldest at 39.1. 10 youngest players in the NHL. The youngest is Jet Luchenko from Philly at 18.2 years old. 18.2.
Looked okay in Edmonton.
Yeah. All right, size-wise, the biggest teams in the NHL, good news, the Boston Bruins are by far the tallest team in the league.
Right.
Adding Zadorov and Riley Tuft had something to do with that, I think. But the tallest guy, who's the tallest player in the NHL, fellas?
Hawkenpaw.
No.
Nope.
The kid in New York.
Do you know how tall?
Oh, Rempe, duh.
Listen, he's growing. He's still growing. I think he started at 6'6". He might be 6'9" right now.
6'9".
Really?
6'9" as a forward in the NHL.
And he's not done.
Klapka 6'8". There's 29 players who are 6'6" or taller in the NHL at this point. 6'6" or taller? Almost a player per team.
They're all goalies.
That's true.
Actually, not. There is a lot of goalies. That's true. Hildeby, Sogard, Fedotov. All right, shortest players in the NHL this season. Would you like to take a guess who the couple of the shortest are?
Zuccarello.
Zuccarello is tied. Yeah, 5 foot.
Yeah.
What?
Nothing.
5 foot.
No idea.
8.
Oh.
5'2".
I don't know.
Who was that guy that played for the Sabres forever who was tiny? Gerby.
Yeah,
Gerby. He was tiny.
5.
Yeah.
Yes.
5 or something.
Yeah.
5'8". But at 5'8", you got Stankoven, Brink, Caulfield, DeBrincat, Blackwell.
Robertson.
Is he 5? No, he's bigger than that.
Is he?
I want to see one player go through someone's legs. Think we'll see
Kenny
it?
Wu? Is that the Mighty Ducks player?
MVP.
All right, heaviest player in the league is not Matt Rempe. It is
Who?
250.
257, Jamie Alexiak.
Oh,
man,
my
that's a
God.
big mountain
Almost
of a man.
260.
And how tall is he? He's
gotta be
big,
6'8",
too.
I think.
Oh, my
He's
God.
not a person.
That's a horrifying guy.
And the lightest player in the league is a new player in the league. And people are very excited about this player. And he's on a Canadian
Buffalo?
team.
No. Okay.
Lane Hudson. Tipping the Toledo
At
160.
oh my God.
160.
Buddy,
162.
that's a bag.
That
of,
was me in grade 7.
that's a bag of feathers.
160 is crazy. Man,
But I
Habs
mean-
fans are really excited about him. Dash 4 every night, and they say he's the best player on the ice.
Stankoven's 165 too. He's also a wee fella. And finally,
How big is Stankoven? What's the-
165
and
5'8" or something.
And 25 of that is his shoulder pads.
Yeah, wearing football pads. What percentage of NHL players currently in the league do you think were drafted in the first round?
Oof.
I
that's a
never
good
would have got
question.
this. I never would have got that.
That number's so low.
I have no idea.
Or is it?
No, I think it's like I'm going to say.
You think it's-
I'm going to say 40%.
42.6%
Oh my
of the
gosh.
league was
I
drafted in the
wouldn't-
first round.
I would not have guessed that.
That makes a lot. I mean, these
And-
scouts are pretty good.
And only 11% were undrafted. Congratulations
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
One of the few
Yeah.
to slip through the cracks.
And find your way there. Anyway,
Wow, that's a big number. I thought it would be low.
it does go to show when you are trading picks, try to chill out about thirds and fourths and fifths. And
Yeah.
sure, there's the odd Datsuk that shows up, but mostly there's not.
Braden Points of the world, and you know,
it happens.
it does.
Obviously, it happens.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, too, that, like, even when you've missed, it takes a long time to kick them out of the league because you're too embarrassed. And so you give them chance after chance after chance.
Oh yeah, once you've
right?
drafted a guy,
Oh, yeah.
God, these
Like,
guys
they hang on
fail
forever.
and fail and fail before someone like
they
yourself
hang on
gets
for
a look.
a very long time because
pedigree.
somebody doesn't want to
People
be.
people's
embarrassed.
careers are tied to your success.
Yes.
They've said that's a player.
Absolutely.
And it's frustrating for other players when they know that you're better than them.
Yeah.
But they get chance after chance after chance.
Speaking of first round picks, a lot of them on the Colorado Avalanche.
What's going on? How happy is Nate going to the rink these days?
Not. Speaking of grumps.
0-4.
Eat a team.
Lost to Boston last night.
0-4. That was one of the interesting things in that article too. They're a really short team. They've got like 13 players, 6 foot and under. But to Sam's point earlier today, when we're talking about the Avs, you always thought of their elite players, and they're always going to be good because it's not just Ranton and McKinnon, but it's Landeskog, it's Nichushkin, it's Makar. So without two of those, they're hurting. And he was talking about watching the game last night.
Yeah. A lot of Colton.
A lot of Ross Colton. A lot of
Casey Middlestat.
Sure.
Very involved.
yeah.
Like he's PP1.
Yeah.
It's like, really?
Like they're probably okay. They're not going to be the shark.
Goaltending, Georgiev was not the guy.
Turns
No,
out he's not the guy.
Not the guy.
Forgiev?
Not that guy. pal.
Georgiev.
Forgiev. I
George.
saw
Georgie.
Jason. No, Georgie the Fourth.
George the Fourth.
That was Rob Brown. Jason Bruff sent out a tweet, or was it one of the, or maybe Mike Halford that said Forgiev, which is very
Yeah,
good.
it's a good line.
I know we talked I wrote an article for the Toronto Star today around Mitch Marner. I know we had that conversation on Leaf Nation, but I did bring up the thought that I believe off of that conversation that we could see more scenarios with teams just running out their star players and then filling the void. And I used Stamkos in Tampa Bay leaving and Gensel coming in. Rantanen, I wrote in my article today, not close to signing a contract. Colorado's reluctance to bring him close to Nate McKinnon's $12 million. Brad Marchand
is going to have a bargain contract.
Brad Marchand. Here's one for you, Sammy. No real talk about him re-signing in Boston as of yet. And he's free. He's older, which means that he's not going to get a 7 or 8 year deal, but I'm sure he's looking for 2 or 3 years.
I do think
Sam Bennett's out there. So will we see more scenarios like the one that just played out recently in Tampa Bay with Stamkos?
My thought on that is that Stamkos is not this unbelievable play driver to me, and I think it's a hockey evaluation as much as anything, and I think you're going to see more of that where, like,
but they won 2 Stanley Cups with him, and he scored 40 goals. Like, what do you...
Okay, well, Gretzky has 5 cups. You want him on your team?
Not today.
4 cups, sorry. Whatever.
Not today.
No, that's my point. Like, these guys move past the point where they're helping win you cups. And if they view, that's their opinion, that they don't think he's there. My point is, I don't think Mikko Rantanen is Steven Stamkos. Brad Marchand is.
I love Rantanen. Watching him play, he is so good. I think he's still underrated how good he is.
Yeah. Does he have a 50-goal season? He's
back-to-back 100-point seasons.
6'3" or something. I mean, he's a
He's a 55 goal. Last year he scored 42 goals, 62 assists for 104 points, plus 19, playing 22 minutes a night. He's a legitimate star.
If they don't sign him, and Landeskog can't play hockey, and Nichushkin is a wild card, the Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche are going to be closer to a rebuild than another cup.
Don't tell Nate that.
Oh man, Nate's a bulldog, man. He's scary.
Yeah, sour. He is not in a good mood today.
No.
So, anyways, I love Rantanen, but you got to think they get it done.
I do have to believe they get it done.
Like, Nathan McKinnon's gonna be like, okay, yeah, like, you're gonna let him walk over how much? Like, he's the second best player forward on this team. I need him.
You know what I'm curious to see? If we're good on Colorado, is this Jack Eichel start so far? 8 points in 4 games. You know, he's got a Stanley Cup under his belt. Is this kind of the year?
A thrilling cameo on the Amazon series where we found out that he has a personal chef and the boys come over and they have lunch before they have a nap, which was a really, really exciting part of that show.
That is how I would spend my money if I were.
But it's like,
Chef
we need a
great.
documentary on this. Great.
So do they, like, right after they eat, do they all lay out mats like we used to in kindergarten?
No, they all live in like the same area in Vegas. And he's like, oh, Jack Eichel hosts his friends for lunch, and then they have a nap. I'm like, oh my God, I'm about to have a nap. Anyways, he's good. He's really good. And
the Swayman Kachuk one's
good. He was banged up all year last year. It's just
so
he's a
every once
player.
in a while in New York, you always go out with Mark, and it's like, okay, I gotta offer to pay, right?
Yeah.
And he'd look at me and he'd go, oh, I think I could handle it. And I go, you're the best. But that's what those guys have to do, right?
Yeah.
There has to be, that's the way they have to be with their club, right? You're making 10 sheets, buddy. Give the boys a personal
It was
chef.
cool to see the guys come down to the American League when I was there. You see Milan Mahalik come down and, like, no one pulled out a wallet on the team for a month. He was just,
That's awesome.
You know,
good for him.
It was not the case with everyone else. There were some other people, but Mahalik full of.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Awesome
like him.
stuff.
He's a good player.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right. Very political today.
that was our most political show.
News and traffic.
Weather next.
Our thanks to Jason York,
Beautiful weather.
co-host of Coming In Hot, the Sens podcast.
I think the show's over. Bye.